The smell of my mother's roast always did make me nauseous. Maybe it was the way she'd passive-aggressively serve me the smallest portion, or how she'd watch me eat with those judgmental eyes. But today, the nausea had nothing to do with food. I'm Sophia, and I was about to blow up my family's perfect little world. The twins were asking for you yesterday, Lara said, cutting into her meat with practiced precision. Maya cried because Auntie Sophia wasn't there to read her favorite story. I stabbed my potato harder than necessary. I told you 3 days ago I couldn't make it. I had work. Work? My mother Grace's fork clattered against her plate. What kind of work is so important that you'd abandon your own nieces? Paying work, I muttered, watching Marcus shift uncomfortably in his seat. He hadn't touched his food, which was unusual for someone who loved showing off how he could afford the finest things in life. Sophia, my father Wilfred warned. But I was done. 6 months of free babysitting, while Lara and Marcus jetted off to luxury resorts and spa weekends. 6 months of cancelled client meetings and lost income. 6 months of being treated like the family's unpaid help. I can't do it anymore, I announced, pushing my plate away. The twins need actual childcare, not their aunt playing nanny every weekend. The silence that followed was deafening. Lara's perfectly manicured hand froze midway to her wine glass. My mother's face turned that specific shade of red that usually preceded a guilt-trip tornado. "How dare you?" she hissed. "After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me?" I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. "Like what, Mom? Constantly reminding me how I'm not as successful as Lara? How I'm such a disappointment because I chose to be independent instead of marrying rich?" "That's enough," my father tried to intervene, but Mom was already on a roll. "You ungrateful child. Your sister needs support while she maintains her social obligations. Marcus works so hard." "Does he?" I cut in, my eyes locked on my brother-in-law. He was sweating now, his designer collar suddenly too tight. "Sophia," Marcus spoke for the first time, his voice strained. "Maybe we should—" His phone rang, cutting through the tension. My phone buzzed a second later. We both knew who it was. "Aren't you going to answer that?" I asked sweetly, watching the color drain from his face. "It might be important. Maybe it's Emerson." Lara frowned, looking between us. "Who's Emerson?" "Just a colleague," Marcus said quickly, too quickly. "Sophia's doing some consulting work." "For the compliance department," I finished, enjoying how he nearly choked on his wine. "You know, auditing, financial reviews, that sort of thing." My phone kept buzzing. Marcus's eyes were practically begging now. "Shouldn't you answer your phone too, Sophia?" my mother snapped. "It's rude to leave it ringing." I picked up my phone slowly, maintaining eye contact with Marcus across the table. His perfectly crafted facade was cracking, and behind it I could see pure fear. "Yes, I know about Emerson's audit," I said into the phone, watching Marcus's fork clatter onto his plate. "In fact, I think we should discuss those offshore accounts you were so worried about." Lara's head snapped up. "What offshore accounts?" I stood up, gathering my bag. "Thanks for dinner, Mom. But I really should take this call. It's about work, you know, the kind that actually pays." "Sophia, wait." Marcus started to rise, but I was already heading for the door. "Oh, and Lara?" I turned back, savoring the moment. "You might want to start looking for a real babysitter. I hear they're expensive, but I'm sure Marcus can afford it. At least that's what his creative accounting suggests." My mother was sputtering, my father was frozen, and Lara looked like she'd been slapped. But it was Marcus's face, that perfect mask of success finally showing cracks, that made me smile. The door slammed behind me with a satisfying thud, but I could still hear the chaos erupting inside. My phone buzzed again, Marcus calling for the 3rd time. This time, I let it ring. After 6 months of being their doormat, it was time they learned who they were really dealing with. And Marcus? He was about to learn that karma sometimes comes dressed in business casual, armed with a spreadsheet and a score to settle. I got into my car, hands shaking slightly, as I gripped the steering wheel. The file on my laptop contained enough evidence to destroy Marcus's career, and with it, my sister's perfect life. The question wasn't whether I would use it, but when. My phone lit up again. This time, it was Emerson. Game on. "Auntie Sophia, I want ice cream," Maya screamed, while Amy pulled at my laptop charger for the 3rd time. "No ice cream before dinner," I said, trying to focus on my client presentation. "And Amy, please stop that. But Mommy always lets us have ice cream." Maya's voice hit that particular pitch that made my teeth hurt. 2 months ago, these weekend babysitting sessions had started with Lara's tearful plea for just this once, while she and Marcus attended a charity gala. Now, every Saturday was the same nightmare. My phone buzzed with Lara's incoming text. "Having the most amazing time at the spa. Marcus surprised me with a weekend package. The twins are angels, right?" I didn't bother responding. Instead, I called my best friend Erin. "Let me guess," she answered. "The princess is at another spa while you're stuck with the demon twins." "They're not demons," I sighed, watching Amy finally succeed in unplugging my laptop. "They're just spoiled, like their mother. Girl, you need to stop letting them walk all over you. How much is Lara paying you anyway?" I laughed bitterly. "You know the answer to that. It's family duty according to Mom." "Speaking of paying work," Erin's voice dropped conspiratorially. "Tobias mentioned something interesting. Isn't Marcus's company planning to go public soon?" Before I could answer, a crash from the kitchen made me jump. "Maya, put down that cookie jar." "I have to go," I told Erin. "Call you later." That was 3 months ago. Now, sitting in my home office, I stared at the email that would change everything. "Dear Ms. Sophia, following our discussion, we'd like to engage your services for a comprehensive compliance review. Given your expertise in financial forensics, we believe you're uniquely qualified to handle this sensitive matter. Best regards, Emerson Russell, Chief Financial Officer." My phone rang. It was Erin. "Tobias found something," she said, without preamble. "Those transactions you asked him to look into? They're definitely not normal business expenses." I opened my laptop, pulling up the files Tobias had sent. "Tell me." "Shell companies, all registered in the Cayman Islands. The money trail leads right back to Marcus's personal accounts. We're talking millions, Sophia." My hands shook as I scrolled through the documents. "This explains the houses, the cars, the endless vacations. While you're babysitting their kids for free," Erin added pointedly. A new email popped up, from Marcus himself. "Need to discuss the Q3 compliance review. Urgent." "He's panicking," I told Erin. "He must have realized I'm on the audit team." "Good," Erin said firmly. "Let him sweat. You've got him by the balls now." I thought about all the Sunday dinners where Marcus bragged about his latest bonus, about Lara's designer wardrobe and her constant spa trips, about my mother's proud smile whenever she talked about her successful daughter and son-in-law. "Sophia?" Erin's voice softened. "What are you going to do?" Before I could answer, my doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Marcus standing there, looking decidedly less polished than usual. "I have to go," I told Erin. "Marcus is here." "Remember," Erin said quickly, "you hold all the cards now. Don't let him intimidate you." I opened the door. Marcus burst in, his usual swagger replaced by barely contained panic. "We need to talk," he said, pacing my living room. "About the audit." "You mean about the millions you've been funneling through offshore accounts?" I kept my voice steady. Or about how you've been cooking the books before the IPO? He stopped pacing. How much do you know? Enough to end your career. I pulled up one of the transaction records on my laptop. Want to explain this one? 5 million transferred to a shell company last quarter? Marcus ran his hands through his hair. Look, I can explain, but please, Sophia, think about Lara. Think about the girls. Like you all thought about me? I smiled coldly. When's the last time you paid me for babysitting? I'll pay you whatever you want, he said quickly. Just keep this quiet. My phone buzzed with a text from Lara. Girls want to sleep over tonight. Coming to drop them off in 30. I showed Marcus the message. Still think I'm the selfish one? The color drained from his face. What do you want? I closed my laptop slowly. I want you to leave my apartment. And Marcus? Tell Lara to hire a real babysitter. I quit. After he left, I called Emerson. I found what you were looking for, I said. And it's worse than we thought. The pieces were falling into place. Soon, my perfect sister and her perfect husband would learn that karma has a way of collecting its debts, with interest. I couldn't shake the image of Lara's smirk from my mind as I drove away from that disaster of a Sunday dinner. That same smirk she'd worn when she was 16 and told Mum I'd snuck out to a party, conveniently leaving out that she'd been there too. The same smirk when she announced her engagement to Marcus at my college graduation dinner, stealing my moment yet again. My father's car pulled up beside me at the red light. I knew he'd follow me. The light turned green, but I pulled into the nearest parking lot. He parked next to me, and I rolled down my window. Princess, he said, using my childhood nickname that now felt like mockery. You need to apologize to your mother. For what, Dad? For refusing to be Lara's unpaid nanny? Or for doing my job? He sighed, that familiar look of disappointment crossing his face. You know Marcus has been good to this family. Whatever you think you found. I don't think, Dad. I know. I pulled out my tablet, showing him one of the transaction records. See these transfers? That's your perfect son-in-law moving company money into private accounts. Millions of dollars. His hands trembled as he adjusted his glasses. This could destroy him. He destroyed himself, I snapped. And Lara's been helping him spend every dirty penny. Sophia, please, his voice cracked. Think about what this will do to the family. My phone buzzed. An email from Emerson marked urgent. I opened it while my father continued his plea. Internal memo. Benson, immediate risk for exposure. Key findings indicate significant financial irregularities. Immediate action required. Potential criminal charges. Dad, I interrupted, did you ever wonder how Marcus afforded that vacation house in the Hamptons? Or Lara's third car? Or the twins' private preschool? He looked away. Business has been good. Business has been fraudulent, I corrected. And you know it. You've always known it, haven't you? His silence was answer enough. All those times you sat there while Mom praised them and criticized me. I continued, my voice shaking. While Lara showed off her latest designer bag, while Marcus boasted about his business genius. You knew something wasn't right, but you said nothing. I wanted to protect the family, he whispered. Protect them from what? The truth? I laughed bitterly. Well, Dad, the truth's coming out now, with or without your approval. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Remember when I was 10 and you caught me lying about breaking Mum's favorite vase? You said integrity matters more than anything. What happened to that, Dad? Sophia. No. I started my car. Go home to Mum. Go back to pretending everything's perfect. I'm done playing that game. As I drove away, I saw him in my rearview mirror, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. My phone rang. Emerson. Tell me you've seen the memo. she said when I answered via Bluetooth. Just read it. How long before it goes public? That's why I'm calling. The board wants to handle this quietly. Buy Marcus out. Sweep it under the rug. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. And let him keep the money he stole? It's complicated, Emerson sighed. An investigation would tank our stock price, scare investors. He's been stealing for years, I cut in, using the company like his personal piggy bank. And now you want to reward him with a golden parachute? Silence on the line. Then, come to my office tomorrow. Bring everything you've found. Maybe there's another way. I ended the call and pulled into my apartment complex. A familiar car was parked in my spot, Erin's. She was waiting by my door with 2 bottles of wine. Thought you might need this after family dinner. Inside, I showed her the memo while we drank. Holy shit, she whispered. This is really happening. Lara's going to lose everything, I said, the wine making my tongue loose. The house, the cars, her precious social status. Having second thoughts? I thought about Lara's smirk, about years of being the family disappointment, about my father's willful blindness. No, I said firmly. Actions have consequences. It's time they learned that. My phone lit up with a text from Marcus. Please, we can work something out. Name your price. Erin read it over my shoulder and snorted, as if this was ever about money. She was right. This wasn't about money. It was about years of lies, manipulation, and that damn smirk. About being the black sheep while they paraded their stolen success. Another text came through, this time from Lara. Whatever you think you're doing, stop. You're just jealous of what Marcus and I have. I showed Erin the message. Should I tell her what they're about to lose? No, Erin grinned. Let her keep smirking, for now. We need to talk, I told Lara, watching her stir her overpriced latte at the cafe we used to visit as teenagers. About Marcus. If this is about the babysitting, I've already found someone else, she sniffed. Though Mom's devastated you've abandoned the girls. Marcus is being investigated for fraud. The spoon clattered against her cup. Excuse me? Shell companies, hidden accounts, millions in stolen company funds. I kept my voice low. I'm giving you a chance to prepare yourself. Lara's perfectly lined lips curved into a condescending smile. Oh, sweetie, is this what your little consulting job found? Some accounting mistakes? They're not mistakes, Lara. He's been stealing for years. She laughed, that high-pitched society laugh she'd perfected. You won't risk the family for your little spreadsheet. Besides, Marcus knows what he's doing. So you knew? I leaned forward. About the fraud? I know my husband is brilliant at business, she said dismissively. Unlike some people who can barely keep their freelance career afloat. My phone buzzed. Marcus again. Meeting with board tomorrow. Please call me. That him? Lara smirked. Tell my husband to stop worrying about your amateur investigation. I stood up, dropping cash for my untouched coffee. Don't say I didn't warn you. Back at my apartment, I found 3 voicemails from my mother. Sophia, your sister told me what you're accusing Marcus of. How dare you make up such lies? Are you really so jealous? Delete. Your father is sick with worry. If you don't stop this nonsense. Delete. I always knew you were troubled, but this is mental illness. Delete. My laptop pinged with an email from Emerson. Board meeting scheduled for 9 a.m., bringing in external auditors. Also, heads up, someone leaked to Financial Times about possible pre-IPO irregularities. Story might break this week. I forwarded the email to Erin, who called immediately. Tobias found something else, she said. The IPO is scheduled for next week. If this breaks before then, the stock will tank, I finished. Marcus loses everything. Including that Hampton House Lara loves so much. My phone lit up with another call. Marcus. This time, I answered. Stop calling me. Sophia, please. His voice cracked. I can explain everything. Meet me at my office. So you can try to buy my silence? No thanks. Think about your sister, he pleaded. Your nieces. Like you thought about them when you were committing fraud? Silence. Then, I'll resign. Take early retirement. Whatever you want. What I want, I said slowly, is for you and Lara to finally face consequences. I hung up as another call came in, an unknown number. Is this Sophia? A man's voice asked. I'm with Financial Times. We're running a story about Marcus Benson's financial irregularities. Sources say you're involved in the investigation? No comment. We're going to print tomorrow. Last chance to give your side. I ended the call, hands shaking. It was really happening. My doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Lara. Mascara streaked down her face. Open the door, she screamed. I know you sent that email to the press. I didn't move. You jealous bitch! She pounded on the door. You're trying to destroy my family because you can't handle our success. My phone buzzed with a text from Erin. Don't engage. Let her scream herself out. The twins need their father. Lara was sobbing now. They need their home, their school. Please, Sophia. I pressed my forehead against the door, remembering all the times she'd watched me get blamed for her mistakes, all the times she'd smiled while I got punished. Security's on their way, my neighbor called from across the hall. Should I call the police? No need, I called back. She's leaving. You'll regret this, Lara hissed through the door. Mom was right. You're mentally unstable. No one will believe you over Marcus. Her heels clicked away down the hallway. Moments later, my phone lit up with a group text from my mother. Family meeting tomorrow after church. Sophia, if you ever want to be part of this family again, you'll be there to apologize to Marcus and your sister. I showed the text to Erin when she arrived with takeout 20 minutes later. Perfect timing, she said, pulling out her laptop. Because look what Tobias just found in Marcus's private emails. The screen showed correspondence between Marcus and an offshore bank, dated 3 years ago. The smoking gun we needed. Send it to Emerson, I said. And Lara, get ready for church tomorrow. It's going to be one hell of a family meeting. Got another one, Tobias said, his fingers flying across his keyboard. Cayman Islands account, opened last year. 5 million transferred in small batches to avoid detection. I leaned over his shoulder, watching numbers scroll across the screen. Can you trace where the money came from? Company funds, he confirmed. Labeled as consulting fees, but the consulting firm doesn't exist. It's just a shell. Erin handed me a coffee. How many is that now? 7 accounts, Tobias answered. Totals over 30 million. My phone buzzed. Another blocked number. They'd been calling all morning, ever since the twins' private school announced mid-year fee increases. Maya cried herself to sleep. The voicemail played in Lara's tearful voice. She thinks we can't afford her ballet lessons anymore. Is this what you wanted? Delete. Your father's in my study, Erin said softly. Says he needs to talk to you. I found him holding one of my draft resignation letters, his hands trembling slightly. You were going to quit your job? He asked without looking up. I considered it, I admitted. Before I knew what Marcus was doing, he finally met my eyes. I knew something wasn't right. The spending, the lifestyle, it didn't add up, but I told myself it wasn't my business. Why are you here, Dad? Because I found this. He pulled out a USB drive. In Marcus's desk at the house. He's been staying in a hotel since... Well, Lara asked me to get some documents for him. My heart raced. What's on it? Account numbers, passwords, records of everything. He placed it on my desk. I'm not choosing sides, Sophia, but the truth matters. Before I could respond, my laptop chimed with an urgent email from Emerson. Internal memo leaked to press. Marcus suspended effective immediately. Board meeting moved up to tomorrow morning. Bring everything you have. Dad, I said carefully, you should go home. Things are about to get messy. He stood slowly. Your mother? She's not well. This is breaking her. Mom broke herself, I replied, by choosing perfect lies over honest truth. After he left, Tobias started analyzing the USB drive's contents. An hour later, he let out a low whistle. This is it, he said. Complete transaction history. Dates, amounts, account numbers. Marcus documented everything. Probably thought he was untouchable, Erin commented. My door burst open. Lara stormed in, face contorted with rage. An email, she screamed. You sent an email to every investor contact about Marcus's financial irregularities? Are you insane? I stayed seated. I didn't send any email. Liar! She thrust her phone in my face. It came from your work address. Tobias cleared his throat. Actually, that email came from Marcus's account. He sent it himself, probably trying to get ahead of the story. Lara's perfect facade cracked. What? Check the sender details, he suggested. Your husband's trying to save himself, throwing everyone else under the bus. She sank onto my couch, designer handbag sliding to the floor. He wouldn't. He already did, I said, showing her the USB drive. Dad found this in his desk. Want to see where your perfect lifestyle came from? Don't, she whispered. Those spa weekends, stolen money, the twins' school fees, fraud, your summer house, all paid for with... I said, don't! She grabbed her bag, stumbling toward the door. You've always been jealous, always wanted to destroy my happiness. Well, congratulations, sister. You won. This isn't about winning, I called after her. It's about consequences. My phone lit up with a news alert. Breaking. Major financial fraud investigation rocks Wall Street firm. Moments later, a text from my father. Your mother's seen the news. She's... I've never seen her like this. Then another from Marcus. Meeting my lawyers tomorrow. Last chance to back down. Erin read the messages over my shoulder. You okay? I thought about Maya's ballet lessons, about my mother's breakdown, about my father's tired eyes. They made their choices, I said firmly. All of them. Tobias looked up from his laptop. Emerson's asking if you're ready for tomorrow's board meeting. Says to bring everything. I picked up the USB drive, thinking about all the lives it would change, all the perfect illusions it would shatter. Tell her I'm ready, I said. And Tobias, send copies of everything to the SEC. It's time to end this. Erin squeezed my hand. No going back now. No, I agreed, watching another news alert light up my phone. No going back. Effective immediately, Marcus has been suspended from all duties pending a full investigation. Emerson's voice carried across the boardroom. The SEC has been notified, and we're cooperating fully with their inquiry. I sat quietly in the corner, watching Marcus's face turn ashen as his empire crumbled. His lawyer whispered something in his ear, but he just shook his head. My phone buzzed. A text from Erin. Your mother's birthday brunch starts in 30. Sure you want to go? Before I could respond, the boardroom door flew open. Lara burst in, clutching a champagne flute, her designer dress wrinkled. You can't do this, she slurred, pointing at Emerson. Do you know who we are in this community? Security moved toward her, but she dodged them, making her way to Marcus. Tell them it's a mistake, she demanded. Tell them Sophia's lying. Marcus wouldn't meet her eyes. Lara, please, not here. Ms. Benson, Emerson said firmly. This is a private board meeting. Please leave before we call the police. Lara spun toward me, mascara streaked down her face. Happy now, little sister? Finally got your revenge? This isn't revenge, I said quietly. This is justice. Security finally reached her, gently but firmly escorting her out. Her screams echoed down the hallway. Meeting adjourned, Emerson announced. Marcus, your office needs to be cleared by end of day. I gathered my things, checking the time. Mum's birthday brunch awaited. The restaurant was exactly the kind of overpriced place Lara would choose, all crystal chandeliers and white tablecloths. My mother sat at the head of the table, looking smaller than I remembered. You came, my father said, relief evident in his voice. Of course she came, my mother snapped. To gloat, no doubt. I took my seat just as Lara stumbled in, fresh from the board meeting. She'd clearly stopped for more champagne along the way. Mother, she announced loudly, your perfect daughter is ruining my life. Other diners turned to stare. A waiter approached nervously with menus. Perhaps we should order, my father suggested weakly. Order? Lara laughed hysterically. With what money? Thanks to Sophia, we're probably losing everything. Thanks to Marcus's fraud, I corrected, and your willful ignorance. Fraud, my mother hissed. How dare you? Marcus has been nothing but generous to this family. With stolen money, I said, pulling out the USB drive. Want to see the proof, Mom? Every transaction, every lie? Lara lunged for the drive, knocking over a water glass. It shattered on the marble floor. You're just jealous, she screamed. Jealous of my perfect life, my perfect marriage. Perfect? I stood up slowly. Your husband is about to be charged with federal crimes. Your perfect life was built on stolen money. And your marriage. I laughed. Ask Marcus about his apartment in the city, the one he's been keeping since last year. The color drained from Lara's face. What apartment? It's all in the records, I said softly. Every payment, every secret. Did you really think he was working late all those nights? My mother's hands shook as she reached for her wine. Stop this. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Mum, I said, dropping an envelope on the table. Here's your gift, the truth. Maybe try it for once. Lara grabbed another glass of champagne from a passing waiter. You're dead to me, she declared, voice breaking. Dead to this whole family. No, my mother said suddenly, her voice ice cold. She's been dead to us for years. We just didn't know it. I looked at my father, but he stared at his plate, silent as always. Goodbye, Mum, I said, standing. Happy birthday. As I walked away, Lara's voice rose again, followed by the sound of more breaking glass. I didn't look back. Outside, Erin was waiting in her car. How'd it go? About as expected, I said, buckling up. Mum disowned me. Lara had a meltdown. Dad said nothing. And Marcus? Suspended. SEC's involved now. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from his lawyer. No going back. You okay? I watched the restaurant disappear in the side mirror, thinking about all the Sunday dinners, all the forced smiles, all the lies. Yeah, I said finally. I'm okay. My phone lit up with a news alert. Breaking. Major financial scandal rocks local business leader. Sources say family member blew whistle. Want to get a drink? Erin asked. Actually, I smiled. I think I'm ready to go home. I've got work tomorrow. Because, unlike my sister's perfect life, my life was real. Built on truth, not lies. And for the first time in years, I felt truly free. Local business leader faces federal charges in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme, the headline screamed from my laptop screen. Below it, a photo of Marcus being escorted from the building, his perfect suit wrinkled, his head bowed. My phone rang. Emerson. The IPO stabilized, she said without preamble. Thanks to your discretion, we managed to contain most of the damage. And Marcus? Cooperating with authorities, throwing everyone under the bus to save himself. She paused. Including Lara. That was new. What do you mean? Claims she was actively involved in hiding the money. Her social media posts about their lavish lifestyle aren't helping her case. A text popped up from an unknown number. You destroyed my children's future. I hope you're happy. Lara. Delete. Sophia? Emerson's voice softened. The board wants to offer you a permanent position, head of compliance. Before I could respond, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw my father. Can I call you back? I told Emerson. He looked older, standing in my living room, defeated. Your mother's not well. I heard. Anxiety medication, right? He nodded. She can't face her friends. The country club. They've asked us to take a break from membership. And Lara? Moving in with us. The bank. They're foreclosing on her house. I walked to my window, looking out at the city. And the twins? Starting public school next month? He sighed heavily. Maya cries every night about her horse riding lessons being cancelled. That's what happens when you live beyond your means, I said. Especially when those means are stolen. I found your old report cards, he said suddenly. From when you were in school. Straight A's, perfect attendance. Teachers always said you had integrity. Funny how that was never enough for you and Mom. We were wrong, he whispered. So wrong. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus's lawyer. Cease and desist. Letter en route. Any public statements about my client will result in immediate legal action. Did you know, I asked my father, that Marcus had a separate apartment? That he was using company money to fund a whole other life? He sat heavily on my couch. Lara mentioned something during her breakdown. Said you were lying about that too. Check the USB drive, I suggested. Rent payments, utility bills, all documented. Your mother blames you for everything, he said. The scandal, the social humiliation, Lara's divorce. And you? He pulled out his phone, showing me his last text to me. You were right. We just couldn't understand you. A knock at the door interrupted us. A courier with an envelope. Cease and desist, I muttered, signing for it. Inside was a handwritten note from Marcus. You'll never be family again. My father read it over my shoulder. He's wrong. Is he? I laughed bitterly. Mom's medicated, Lara's homeless, and you're here delivering guilt trips. I'm here because I finally read those files, he said quietly. All of them. The fraud, the lies, the apartment, everything. My phone lit up with a news alert. Socialite wife named as person of interest in fraud investigation. They're looking at Lara's involvement, I told him. She might face charges too. He closed his eyes. Your mother can't handle that. Maybe she should have thought about that before enabling their lifestyle. Sophia, he pleaded, they're still your family. No, I said firmly. Family doesn't use you, doesn't manipulate you, doesn't discard you when you tell the truth. Another text from Lara. The FBI interviewed me today. Hope you're satisfied with destroying everyone who loved you. I showed it to my father. See? Still playing the victim. He stood slowly, looking older than his years. I should have protected you. Should have seen how they treated you. But you didn't, I said softly. You watched. You stayed silent. And now I'm watching everything fall apart. My phone rang. Emerson again, probably about the job offer. You should go, I told him. Mum needs you. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you, for having the courage I never did. After he left, I read Marcus's note again. You'll never be family again. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'd never be family again. But as I looked at my phone, at Emerson's job offer, at Erin's supportive texts, at Tobias's congratulations, I realized something. I didn't need to be their kind of family anymore. I'd built my own, with people who valued truth over appearance, integrity over image. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from my father. I understand now, and I'm sorry. Too little, too late. But at least it was honest. And honesty? That was something my old family never quite understood. And that's how we uncovered the largest financial fraud in the company's history, I concluded, looking out at the audience of compliance professionals. Any questions? Dozens of hands shot up. Being the keynote speaker at the corporate ethics conference wasn't something I'd planned, but Emerson had insisted. How did your family react? Someone asked. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A news alert. Marcus accepts plea deal in fraud case, faces 5-7 years. Speaking of family, I smiled tightly. Let's talk about the importance of maintaining professional boundaries when investigating loved ones. After the presentation, Erin met me in the hotel lobby. Ready for dinner? Actually, I said, checking my phone. There's somewhere I need to go first. The public school looked different from the twins' old private academy. No marble columns or manicured lawns. Just kids being kids on a simple playground. Maya saw me first. Auntie Sophia! She'd grown taller, her designer clothes replaced by regular kid stuff. Amy hung back, uncertain. Hi, girls, I said softly. Your mum said I could visit. Before you go in. Lara's voice came from behind me. We need to talk. She looked different too. No more perfect makeup or luxury brands. Just a woman in practical clothes, holding down 2 jobs to support her daughters. The plea deal? I asked. Marcus took it this morning. She wrapped her arms around herself. He's naming names, including mine. I heard. Community service and probation, she said quietly. Thanks to you speaking to the prosecutor about my cooperation. I watched the twins play. They seem okay. They're resilient, Lara smiled slightly. Better than I was at handling reality. My phone buzzed. A text from my father. Your mother's asking for you. Go, Lara said, reading over my shoulder. She's trying. We all are. The nursing home was quiet. Mom's anxiety had evolved into something deeper, requiring professional care. Sophia, she brightened when I walked in. I was just telling Martha about my successful daughter, the keynote speaker. Mom, I said gently, you don't have to pretend anymore. Pretend? She looked confused. Oh, you mean about the unpleasantness, but that's behind us now, isn't it? My father touched my arm. She has good days and bad days. Today she's living in her perfect world, I finished. Sometimes that's kinder, he said softly. My phone lit up, Emerson calling, probably about the promotion we'd discussed. I should take this, I told them. Of course. My mother smiled vacantly. My daughter is very important now. Outside, I answered the call. Hey, Em. Board approved your promotion to Global Head of Ethics and Compliance, she said. Plus, the SEC wants you to consult on implementing new fraud prevention protocols. I watched through the window as my father helped my mother with her puzzle, her hands shaking as she tried to fit pieces into places they didn't belong. Sophia, you there? Yeah, I said, just watching something fall into place. Later that evening, I sat on my balcony with Erin and Tobias, sharing wine and takeout. So, Erin raised her glass, to the new global head of ethics. To Karma, Tobias added. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Lara. The twins asked if you'd come to their school play next week. No pressure, just asking. Everything okay? Erin asked. I showed them the text. Are you going to go? Tobias asked. I thought about Maya's smile at the playground, about Lara's humility, about my mother's broken reality, and my father's quiet remorse. Revenge isn't clean, I said finally. It's not even satisfying, but it is honest. And maybe honesty is where healing starts. Is that a yes? Erin pressed. I typed my response to Lara. What time is the play? You're a better person than me, Erin declared. No, I said, deleting Marcus's old cease and desist letter from my phone. Just tired of carrying around other people's lies. The city lights twinkled below, and somewhere out there, Marcus sat in a cell. Lara worked her evening shift, and my mother pieced together her puzzle of perfect illusions. But here, on my balcony, with my chosen family, the truth fit just fine. My phone buzzed with another client referral. I silenced it without looking. Some calls could wait. Right now, I had everything I needed: peace, purpose, and people who valued honesty over perfection. To truth, I raised my glass. To truth, they echoed. And somewhere in the night, Karma smiled, knowing her work here was done.